evening, and welcome to my segment of Don't Make Excuses, Make Time. Today's segment is on You Are What You Eat. Never in a million years would I ever imagine me being on the journey that I am on today and being so passionate about my health. After being diagnosed with hypertension, also known as high blood pressure, and oftentimes referred to as the silent killer, in 2013, weighing at 335 pounds at the age of 38, I just knew that my weight was the primary factor. I refused to be dependent upon taking pills daily to control my blood pressure. And although prescribed, I didn't take them. And I don't advise anyone to do as I did. But I have to be honest about what I did on my journey. I also wasn't accepting the doctor's belief that maybe, just maybe, this was hereditary. My very first thoughts after leaving the appointment that day was, Lord, am I going to die? Is this really how my chapter in life was going to end? At that moment in time, I was pushed to a very dark place in my life. And at that time, my blood pressure was already at stroke and heart attack level. And I guess that's what really scared me, was because I was unaware. So after I got myself together, and I realized that the ultimate decision was really left up to me, I sat down with a notebook, one similar to this right here, and a pen. And I started to put it all down on paper. And for anybody that follows me on YouTube or had watched any of my live videos via Facebook when I walk, I always reference Ann Nesby, put it on paper. So I've always put everything on paper because I'm a visual person. So the first thing that I did was I started from the year of 1975, which was the year that I was born. And I wrote through the year of 2013, which is when I started my journey. And I took the number of days in a year and I multiplied it by 38, which was my age when I started. And this helped me to look at the bigger picture and to accept the fact that it has taken me all of my life to get to where I was. It also showed me that I had a large task ahead of me. And because it took me so many years to get to where I was, it would be something that wouldn't be an overnight success for me. From the very start, I vowed to myself to remain true and that I was going to stay the course, no matter how hard it got, that I was going to do all of this on my own. So much factored in on my journey. Like all of my past failures in life, such as failing at motherhood for the first time around, to not graduating from college. So many things began to go through my mind. But how does one come back from death? You can't. So while God has healed that mother and daughter relationship, I realized that in order for me to be there for my baby girl and my son and continue to live, I had no choice. I not only vowed to do this journey, and I owed it to myself, but I owed it to them as well. My failures factored in really heavily for me. The motivation that pushed me was indeed my children and my husband. I wasn't ready to die, so I promised myself from day one, no matter how hard it got, and it really, really got hard at times, that I was not going to give up on me nor them. So I began my journey off by taking baby steps, as I still do. I didn't set goals that were unrealistic so that I would not become so easily discouraged. But rather, I set things that would challenge myself and would keep my journey fun and exciting. I had to start by teaching myself that I could no longer allow my body to dictate to me what it desired, but rather supply it with the nutrients that it needed to survive. I had to learn that I had to eat to live and not live to eat. I had to learn a lot of things differently. So I began to write down the places that I like to frequent to eat. And I loved myself some McDonald's. A Big Mac meal, extra Mac sauce, upsize the fries, and the sweet tea. Bojangles Cajun filet biscuit combo with strawberry jelly, both sides of seasoned fries, and the cherry soda. And oh my goodness, how I loved a hot fish sandwich topped with hot sauce and slaw. But all of this, plus some, put me in the position that I found myself in. At that starting point, I could only remember drinking water when I was eating something sweet. I remember movie nights with my cousin, and she and I would go to the bakery at Bilo, and we would get us the small square cake with the original buttercream icing, and we would eat the cake and watch a movie. I remember as a child the many summer visits to Grandma and Granddaddy's house, and all the morning breakfast that Granny made, grits and sausage and liver pudding and bacon, eggs and homemade biscuits. I still see Granny's homemade apple and sweet potato pies that she had lined up on top of her deep freezer in the kitchen on top of quilts, ready for revival at church, and those delicious fruitcakes that she would make at Christmas time. Then there were the daily visits to the Bantam Chef, which was a small pop shop type restaurant where I would get the 2 hot dog combo all the way and the Monster Burger combo all the way. On top of all of that, there were the trips to Mr. Quick's corner store, where Granddaddy would take my cousins and I, and we would get our own brown bag full of penny candy. So many trips that my mom finally had to say, you know what, that's enough. Because at this point, I was starting to get chunky. And as grandparents would do, Granddaddy didn't stop taking me, but instead, he would go and get it for me. So many precious memories, and although precious, ultimately contributors of the place that I found myself in. So why all of that? I had to reflect upon all of that to start transitioning into the partaking of healthier foods. So now I began to write things down into 2 columns on paper, labeling one side with some of the things that I was eating now and the other side of what I could replace them with. So for example, baked chips with popcorn, for regular chips, yogurt for ice cream, granola bars for cookies, frozen fruit bars for popsicles, and sparkling flavored water instead of sodas. I went from replacing foods to changing the way in which I prepared my meats, grilling, baking, and broiling rather than frying, to increasing my veggies, fruit, and water intake. I dedicated at least 30 minutes a day to my health in some form of physical activity. As the days passed, then the months, although some days being harder than others, I learned it was all mind over matter. Before I knew it, a year had passed, and then another, and then another. And finally, my blood pressure levels had lowered. I no longer had to be advised of taking any meds. I was becoming a healthier, brand new me. It made it even more motivating because now other people were noticing and inquiring about what it is that I was doing. At this point in my life, it was now all making sense to me. If I wanted to become a healthier me, I had to put healthier things inside of me. It no longer took a rocket scientist to figure this out anymore for me. So I continued, as I still do today, to write challenges for myself on paper, sometimes daily, weekly, or monthly. If I failed, I had to stay with the same challenge until I succeeded. So if you are on this journey, if you're starting this journey, or if you're just afraid of the mere fact of failure. Know that this journey will not be easy. For those that are like me, we have eaten unhealthy for so very long. Yes, you will want to give up. Yes, you will fall off. Yes, you will feel guilty for sneaking and eating those things that you were trying to give up. I still do. But every single day that passes, whether failed or a success, is a day closer to your transition. You will never know how far you can get if you never even start. And the ultimate failure comes in not starting over. Failure for me was not an option. And unless you give up, that is the only way that you fail. Please be encouraged, stay motivated, and take each day on this journey one step at a time. But most importantly, don't you make excuses, make time. Thank you so much for joining in. Join me next Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. where I will talk about don't hold on to it, let it go. Thank you so much. Y'all continue to follow me via Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. You already know how I end these things. One love, y'all.